Welcome to the show. So the Lamborghini Huracán event, Evo Spyder, the Lamborghini Huracán. I'm not even sure how it's pronounced, and I really don't quite honestly care, since I'm the only bull you should follow, and I'm the only bull you should be into. So I mean, a Lamborghini specifies having a bull as their emblem, as their main thing, as their main mascot. I quite honestly don't care for it, so I'm not really a Lamborghini person. I'm more of a Ferrari person. I'm more of a knight in shining armor. So technically more of a god and a king. So it's kind of how it goes. Mainly once you realize how much I'm technically, or who I technically am. After a while, I guess I kind of left that a little too open-ended with how much time it's been since I first initially came up with the designs and concepts of live streaming and whatnot, and got plagiarized for my work here in the United States of America. So kind of leads from that, and then technically all the other stuff that happened, me reverse engineering technology that's not part of this planet, and me getting deprived of all my kinetic energy suits, all my engines, all my energy sources, all my battery sources, all my actual batteries, all my energy, just basically everything that will topple any of these cars, with something as simple as a go-kart in comparison to their gas engine and one of my engines. So I mean, it's kind of just how it goes. Not to be talking bad on them, but I mean, I did this back for Asphalt 8. I was going to restart this stream, since I hate whenever the game or an app not so much crashes, but it restarts on its own just because I'm away from the app for 10 seconds. So this is a worldwide premiere, I guess. Hi. For the Lamborghini Huracán Evo Spyder. Huracán, I think, is how it's pronounced, but I forget exactly how it's pronounced. Sorry for the allergies also. I might do some of this heavy breathing here and there. But regardless, it's kind of a good day. Not really kind of a good day. It's kind of funny. I was actually I just went and updated the game today, after not playing for 2 days. And I haven't really been playing the game that much time since when I first started playing the game. It was kind of just, I thought it was nothing but swipe controls. And then it kind of implied it, in order to be a legend, you basically have to play it this way and whatnot. And I just kind of got stuck with the subliminals, so I uninstalled the game, knowing I don't like endless runners, let alone swipers. And I was just like, oh man. I mean, I'm not that bad at endless runners, and it's not that I don't like them. Some of them are cool, but most of them are, most of them are so tiresome that you have to, the good ones, you have to pay for the game, or you have to watch a million ads in order to get a retry or another retry. Sorry, or enough free tries to actually make it past the first stage, let alone the first 10 seconds. So I kind of just avoided them. But regardless, I'm going to start off by reading this notice that just showed up. A worldwide premiere. Be the first to ride the Huracán Evo Spyder. Huracán is what I might get stuck saying, but whatever. Only the top 10 players will get this legendary decal for themselves and all their club mates. Which I have my own personal club, but not that many people in it. Actually, I really don't even have anyone in it. I have my alt account in it just for whenever I go exploring and whatnot. But regardless, I was going to click more info, and I kind of should, but I guess I won't. I mean, I guess I won't go through with that section of that ad. It's a good game in my opinion. And please disregard any and all subliminals, because I don't even try to show my face in subliminals, but I did do a lot of work before this trying to solidify my virtual reality system. Actually solidified my company and whatnot. And I just came up with the name. I came up with Infinity due to the fact that no one else had the name technically in the US as an actual copyrighted, patented, or any name of that sort, even within the LLC structure. So I basically was going to run that, and I was going to run Sphere Gaming, but I was also going to run Infinity Stream / Infinity Gaming. Ran into a bunch of debacles. As a result, most of my work got plagiarized. After people plagiarized it, I kind of just blew the flag, and I just kind of tried contacting Microsoft and everything in various means, since I was going to sell the virtual reality system, which was part of my kinetic energy suit that I was trying to sell and make multiple renditions for the military. I was going to sell the military grade rendition, since that's the highest grade that they take, and then the consumer level rendition. I was going to run this stock just for the first race. I was actually going to max it out and then run it stock, but I'm not that good at this game, to be quite honest, but thoroughly enjoyed it. Oh yeah, so I was going to make multiple renditions, your basic military grade, and then your basic consumer. That was all. Oh, eventually Microsoft. Welcome back to the show. It's funny, as technically as it always tends to happen whenever I bring too much energy into something, the app crashes. My screen crashes. Welcome back to the show. So I ran my quick troubleshooting of just toggling my data connection. Wi-Fi in the area, and my data, like hardwired, landlines and whatnot. So outrageously slow that I gotta just go with it. Not to mention I'm in so many local networks to get back that just kind of got tough. Kind of just plagiarized me so often that it just turned into that where I could just contacting the government and how we can get out for the most part. Guess I'm gonna run one more race stock, since that screen crash kind of threw me off. So just gonna keep running it. I forgot I switched accounts. I'm just gonna run it. I've been trying to, since I just started, I figure I should run 2 accounts simultaneously, just to kind of raise my skill level. I primarily focus on What I was helping is that I was actually one of the top for a while. I haven't had enough time to really focus. So I was kind of, it's also network based, not internet connection based, but based off of the network. If you like any of the good people that they have, you get like 30 of these. I'm not gonna lie to myself. I try to force down the throat so I can make my own choices. And I end up realizing once I have like the fastest vehicles, like best example is they run events where they give you a maxed out vehicle and you use all the same specs, all the same stuff that all the pro racers are using, but your vehicle just is not what you use to make those break points. Like I'm running the double tank, running max everything, and I'm just getting to like a quarter 3 seconds back with braking. Like, how does it look? People are even like putting down like faster benchmarks. So I mean, it's kind of just what happens. It's all network-based. It's not really assumptions that I'm making. I'm just pointing out the networks, or you get stuck in the past as you consider the first you're progressing in the future. Because I mean, all these companies are just like a bunch of there's no way to put it nicely, so it's nothing but window. I don't even know how to put it. I'll use a better word eventually, but I won't like really overly like extend my. Oh, dude, I forgot this thing has limited 2 hours and 20 minutes to refill. I watch one ad. I guess I could watch that off stream since I don't like watching them on stream. Oh, sorry. All right. So most of these companies are like nothing but see what I'm talking about. I'm trying to eventually get some out of it, but I'm thinking ill of me. But making like off of the game that they with my vertical processing for whether they want to own it or not, or they want to like admit it or not. Is just what it is. The last company that technically plagiarized my work with that, my virtual processing by claiming other was NVIDIA, but they got forced to release all their plug-and-play systems that were based off of my system in silver. So I mean, they're only second best. The only other company that got close was Microsoft. They tried claiming that they were me, or tried claiming that they were on my side with this. And they were able to release something to do it. That was Microsoft too. Half this stuff was supposed to be out since like Asphalt, but they chose to like deprive me of my sanity, and they chose just because the option chose 12 minutes. And I choose not to like mock them for like their crimes and whatnot, and the notes that the crimes they commit stipulate them to. I get in trouble, so I mean they'll try to backlash at me, but then it's just the same thing. They expect you to draw a gun in the head just because I never called them out on their crimes and whatnot. Because they're like, oh, well, let's do this as fists, and it's like, well, I mean, if we go to fists, I'm going to set up a contract, and I'm going to win regardless, but at that point, you're just going to cry about it, because I probably had to shoot you through the head anyways, so I'm just avoiding all that disruption. I'm going to make a few upgrades. They're going to consider a few upgrades, actually. I'm not too sure with this game, since it's kind of a heavy lag physics-based system, since they try to incorporate like a physics-based engine type dynamic into this game, but they kind of what they're implying is that none of this is fantasy and this is all like realistic and whatnot, but they're also kind of withholding a lot of my technology that led towards most of these realities being brought to their world and whatnot. So I'm not too sure if I should go with the acceleration with this car or actually nitro. because I don't want to max it out off the very beginning. Want to take a few tries. And I figure, you know what, I'm going to max it out. The only reason I didn't want to max this out was for the fact that it might make it a bit too challenging, as they did with the Aventador. The second I maxed that out, it was just like, what's up with this? Like, everyone just became like 10 seconds faster. I put down 1.16 times per lap. I was just a few days ago, and it would still like put down this like 120 barely. So I didn't run that on my alt account. Like, it didn't already good enough for my work. As I already stated, I came up with virtual processing a while ago. It's nothing but plugin systems that are virtualized and whatnot. I didn't come up with it for any hacky means, but eventually I plan on using it to not hack it. But actually maybe hacking to shut down some of the companies that are. So at that point, it technically isn't considered hacking, because they violated my rights. So I mean, it kind of goes to using the Blu-rays and whatnot. I can use them regardless of what Microsoft claims. They're still in my domain. They signed contracts to get into my domain, my domain. So I mean, regardless of how they got claimed that the contract is there, it's the same thing. You guys can't find your contracts, I can find my contracts, and I can find your click. You can't find mine, because I do the aside from the click, you know, the words, it's distinguished like the group and whatnot. You just won't be able to find it. So I mean, it's because I don't have a group. I always honest or wholehearted enough for me to actually like take control. That's just kind of how it happens. I just tend to help everyone out versus ever like taking it out. I don't like this vehicle that much, but it's kind of good. I'm not into Lamborghini. The last Lamborghini I was actually into was an Asphalt 8 Sense Mario. That was vicious, like furious. It was awesome when they brought it into Asphalt. I thought it was so vicious and furious that they docked it. And I mean docked it by like the handling was phenomenal, the driving was phenomenal. This one's kind of half-half since they have a fake physics engine type like incorporated into it, and as you can tell within like the actual design of the vehicle, kind of doesn't hold up to the name even in a game aspect. But we all know that I'm looking at it from a different aspect other than just an aspect. Oh well, Silver League just ended, or I mean the Silver League, the series just ended. Yeah, the multiplayer season just ended. I ended up in Silver and I just barely ran it like 5 minutes ago. So I mean, this game is kind of fresh in my opinion. It's not the best out there. As we all know, this game was created like 10 years ago. They just took their time to release it to the public. They released it within their inner networks and whatnot, and then they released it to like what are those considered? Third world countries? Oh yeah, they released it to like territories that were third world countries of the US. And then the US eventually bought them out, and by the time they could cover up all the facts as to where all their people and all their lineages basically, or how their bloodlines came from, that's basically once the US basically just came personal vendetta against the fact that I don't even it's like nothing but plagiarizing my system too. Like, lie about the fact that it's all your plagiarism. Just have better tabs on the lab than you like. Just choose not to listen to all the here's the best way I can put it. The technology that I've reversed engineered led towards me getting limitless amounts. Actually, I'll use my word because I am intelligent, but that led towards me being able to harness infinite amounts of electricity, power, physics itself, physics, pressure. Oh yeah, pressure. Sorry, not just physics itself, but pressure. So I mean, half this stuff just leads from that, and electromagnetics, electromagnetic levitation, and things of that nature. And I didn't go to school for any of this. It just all hit my brain, and and I just like out of nowhere started developing concepts and whatnot. I went from electromagnetic levitation to all of a sudden just like, well, I mean, if you reverse the not reverse the polarities, but if you go, well, I think it's opposite polarities. Oh no, the same polarity. It's opposite polarities. The same polarity. Two magnets. They create like a force field zone. So what I basically did is I took this concept of reality, is proof, and I did it with electromagnetics and all of that. Create force fields and whatnot. But I also use gravitational motion and the fact that your eyes can see what light wants your eyes to see. So at that point, that set of proofs that went from just a concept to solidified as a proof. Solidified it as a proof. The common scientists that have no real say in what happened, or was it something else? That's just kind of what it comes down to. How much evidence that you guys are doing? And I'm going to find a lot of evidence in the U.S. court where there are like millions of deaths that happen year in and year out. Millions of lives that are sold year in and year out. And that's just kind of what happens. And they pushed it to me when like sponsored by one of these they're kind of just lost, right? Because I was using that word breath so often that they're just like, well, now it's like time to use it against you. I'm like, well, alright, man. I had no heavy agro overmongering against you, but I mean, if you're gonna try to play that game, alright, Brett, it's just kind of that simple. Like, I don't claim to be protected, and I don't claim to have anyone on my side, so I fight solo. I get plagiarized a lot, so you guys might encounter a lot of people claiming to be me. So I mean, from that point, I guess we can get into heavy set discussions. You can drop me a message as to what you really want to discuss and what you really want to get into on any of my feeds, on any of my follows or subscribe sections. I don't follow anyone and I don't subscribe to anyone. As I was going to try to post up a comment during that last subscription war for that one propaganda giant. Or that one propaganda segment, sorry. That one propaganda segment. Sorry, I don't like subliminals, so I kind of wanted to make this as simple as possible, but that one propaganda person, and I really don't like enemies trying to claim anything out, regardless of what they are, but I really don't like dealing with anything like whatever other people call it. It makes no difference. You have to protect yourself by getting it out, just make sure you're well protected, straight to the head, causing damage in my zone. I'm just waiting to get my license to kill from me by killing them in tails and whatnot, and I will kill them eventually. But I mean, that's just kind of me. I don't really mind saying this out loud because this is like supposed to be my own personal experience, but it kind of is. I mean, I started speaking this point out that I'm like not so much, regardless of what they consider tough, fair or not. I mean, I won't die. I can't die. It's like impossible. You can try to scare me, but I'm still gonna make you dead before you can do that. But I probably don't want to see your spirit when you form with your enemies. So, I'm trying to get back to the point. So, as this last subscription roll went, I was trying to point this out, but I also didn't want to. I don't know. I got a little drained because I wanted to make this like a consistent way of like making like bunch of subscribers and viewers. But I also kind of felt bad at the same time. Me being as honest, or I mean, me being as, what's the best way to put it? Me being as fair as I wanted to be. Me being as anti-hacks as I wanted to be. I didn't want to go trolling and dropping in on this battle and then dropping in, oh yeah, I don't follow anyone, I don't subscribe to anyone, I don't do anything of this nature. But if I did, I would be going for the main propaganda person that was off to, I don't know what side he was. I think it was the left-hand side, but I don't really want to say. But I mean, you know, that's just kind of how sorry, I had to clean my screen. That's kind of just how it goes. But yeah, I was hoping to get a few thousand, probably even like 1 million plus subscribers off of that fact, and then just run, I mean, just off the fact that they would hear or see that comment, it would get me a few subscriptions, and then off of that, it would get me at least a viable audience that would probably break me out of this umbrella network that the U.S. government has me in, which I'm kind of tired of being in. That's kind of why I just kind of kept my mouth quiet the whole time. Oh, nice. New card packs. So for anyone that's new to the game, one thing that they did to these card packs is they added a level. As you can see down in like below the midsection of the actual buttons, it says like level 6 garage for me. I highly recommend, other than getting your daily packs every 4 hours, other than getting your hourly packs every 4 hours, that's a better way to put it. I really recommend you save all your tokens until it's a vehicle you really like and level up your garage as high as you can. I'm not too sure if these other card packs go off the same issue. I know it has the card pack level info, but I don't ever trust any of this stuff. It changes based off of network and based off of if I fall asleep that night or not. And based off of if I fall asleep that day, during that day's night, or that country's day night, or if I woke up like on British time, or like, what's that other place? Oh yeah, the UTC, the Universal Time Coordinated, but it's not universal, it's Greenwich Mean Time, so it's not really universal because it was originally stipulated as Greenwich Mean Time, therefore it can't be universal. So, I mean, it's still Greenwich Mean Time, so GMT, which they try to confuse with, like, Mountain Time and whatnot. So, I mean, it's just kind of how it goes. So, I mean, unless they're running stuff of that nature, it's, like, really not much of a... I don't even know how to point it out. It's just kind of too much of a stress out. If I go to sleep during that day, I might wake up in, like, a completely different network. I mean, and as my disclaimer Actually, I should have posted my disclaimer on the current app that I'm using to broadcast to all these places. Since just sticking to only broadcasting to one or two of these companies wasn't my original intended idea, and I was actually going to do that. I was actually going to create my streaming site to basically stream to every platform, have a connection to every platform, be able to make sure your stream was set out to every platform. At least they didn't break into like all my stuff to where these delayed streams aren't like how I wanted to have them, where the chat is up to date but the stream is delayed by like a few seconds, in order to make sure that you're always streaming at the highest quality that your device can. Actually, it's not even your device, because I was also doing the virtual processing, the plug and play system. So at that point your devices would be processing like 4K to it's UHD HDR, I think is what it is, universal high def resolution or something like that. They added way too many abbreviations just to try to confuse and complicate the market yet again, and complicate the search engines. And this is kind of how I wanted to create, or this is kind of how Google got created, because I'm infinity, but there's an infinite amount of choices. I'll find you a Google amount of good ones. That's kind of how they tried breaking into my whole infinity network, and that's technically how they got through a lot of stuff, because I came up with that quote when it happened. I mean, I wanted to invest in the company, but I didn't really have money at the time, so I couldn't really draw out the investments. I mean, my other good quote I really won't use often, but it's kind of like something that'll like dampen the mood right now. So I might use it, or you might have heard it, or you might hear it in my past streams, or you might actually, you know what, I have to erase one of my past streams, or make it private, because I flipped out on some random troll, and I totally just like, I try to keep it family friendly 100% because I'm just me, but I tend to get aggravated and agitated, or I tend to get agitated, sorry, not aggravated, but I tend to get agitated quite often. The US will kind of stipulate what I'm thinking and cause me to go off of like what my Wi-Fi connection is. So I think that's why I take pause breaks, in order to recompose myself, so to speak. But this next quote kind of dampens the style, but this is technically what I like got into after all the lucid dream states, astral projections. Actually, it was astral projections, because I started lucid dreaming. Hi, welcome to the show. Sorry, I tend to greet all my viewers. But oh yeah. So I mean, through all my astral projections, since that's a solidified science in some of these networks and some of these countries. So what it basically was is, there's no heaven without me. That's why you guys go off of 3 lesser glories. So I mean, it's kind of what happens. I mean, it's just what it is. I mean, I disestablished everything just because you guys wanted to disestablish me. So I just kind of, you know what? I'm gonna play the game I always play, or I'm gonna play the way I always play, and I'm gonna keep going with me, and I'm just gonna keep going with me. Sorry, and I'm gonna keep going with me. Sorry, the subliminals got a little crazy, and I'm just gonna keep going, and I'm just gonna keep going, and I'm just gonna keep going. That sounds a lot better, but either way, that's just technically how I do stuff. I mean, you can't really overly offend me. You offend me, it's just kind of you offending yourself. I mean, if I offended you in any manner, there's like no way for me to really say that I offended you in any manner, because I know I don't go out of my way to offend a person. If you get offended, you probably offended me, that you became offended by the sheer fact that I was me and you were just trying to be me. So you therefore caused yourself pain by not sticking to the fact that you're not me. So lay off. I mean, get off of my stuff, get out of my stuff, and that's just that. Stop lying to anyone. So as my disclaimer goes, if you don't like the information provided, then consider it a parody. But it's not. You'll just lie to yourself more than I'll lie to you. That's just that. And it kind of goes with my allergies. It's like so humdrum bad right now. Like, this is the first year of my life that I've ever had allergies. I should have never wished for allergies when I was a little kid, because now it just came back to bite me full blown. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I still remember the day. Like, I still remember, like, wishing, like, because I had heard so many people had allergies and whatnot. Oh, you're allergic to this, you're allergic to that. And it was all, like, in a slew in a week. It was, like, all in a week. Like, a slew of, like, people saying it within a week. And I was just like, what? I want allergies? They sound like the coolest thing ever. And they're all saying, no, they're not. But I'm like, dude, you get out of this, you get out of that. I guess it kind of doesn't make sense with like good food and whatnot, but aside from that, I want allergies. Got hit with that super bloom down here in Southern California, and I was just like, oh my goodness. No, sorry, I would just be sneezing. My nose was like congested all day, like organs flipping out. Ugh. These people I have to have my mic in front because I don't even know if I'm running or the same thing because I'm using the headset. Yo, can you guys actually hear me? I'm sorry. I'll find a way to get to a straight and like start me or something. I'll even log it. Actually, you know what? Never mind. If you guys do it within the first minute, I'll just be like a great ugly. I've never done. Or like that garbage attempt to create a distraction, that garbage attempt to actually distraction. Or even create a distraction. Or maybe even standoff too, since I just downloaded the game and actually updated the game. Or actually, I downloaded the game like a month ago. I haven't gotten a chance to play, and then by the time I wanted to play it, it's like, oh, dude, what are the chances to play? So I kind of just didn't even bother playing. Oh, and then I forgot to update the game, and I was I'm stuck right now without Wi-Fi, so it's like completely just like leaked all over my screen, or like spit all over it, so I'm so loud. You know what, here's a good test. I'll open up my YouTube app, sorry. And then we'll see if I'm actually streaming. And I have been playing like nothing but PUBG. Oh dude, you know what? This also reminds me. Just sorry. Just in case anyone does try to watch that, I'm gonna avoid that. So I put it as private for the time being, because I know I flipped out on someone either within that hour or whenever it had crashed. Because I know I flipped out on someone either within that hour or... Oh, well, I actually like this headset then. It's a really inexpensive in-ear headset that I bought like a year ago. Regardless, that I got a while ago with a gift card that I had that I didn't even know I had. But yeah, it's just kind of funny. Totally dig the mic. Like I actually like my voice on it through it. Even though I get regularly annoyed with my voice. Quite often, actually. I won't even say regularly. Like, overly often. I should have saved some of my daily events for this. That Dendrobium, I think is what that is. Vanda Electric's Dendrobium. Actually looks quite fresh in this game. In Asphalt 8, it didn't look all that epic. and it was actually like really sluggish and ugly and annoying to drive, but it actually doesn't look too bad in this. Not to mention that they have me going against I guess if I would have stuck with the game, actually, I don't like swipers. I mean, I still even feel bad. It's like they get me out like on a personal, like a personal challenge. Everyone out there, it's like a legend. Everyone's like play style, and I figured, you know what? Eventually, well, my answer to that all the time is eventually. But am I going to be given enough time to do it? And I wouldn't. So, kind of got tired, and I just like, I didn't even care about like being able to switch controls. And actually at the time I don't even remember there being controls that you could switch. And I was like, because I downloaded the game like within like not even half an hour. I was the first person like in North America probably to download the game. I was just like that full-fledged ready for this game. I was so stoked. I mean, Infinity and 8 being like sign and whatnot. I'm just like, dude, I'll support it. I mean, we need Infinity base, yacht, right? We need everything. Yacht, Infinity base, like whatever. Dude, we need Infinity and base being like the two most highest of the highest. I'm just kind of joking around, but. In my Lucid Dream State, whenever I spoke with any hierarchy or anyone, like the way that I got the idea behind like the whole name face and everything was through that. They didn't remember my half the time we didn't have enough time to like discuss my name or anything of that nature. So the thing they do remember is my face. So it kind of just got stuck with that. So I mean, it was just kind of epic and dope. And then Infinity and everything was released to me after a few years, as supposedly that being my past life after I had created atoms and whatnot. Primary setup, but it's just kind of funny. That I guess I created like comics and this kind of stuff. Now, why people walk out of networks, and the second I enjoy something, there's like a million spin-offs created from it. So it's just like working some type of saying. It's kind of also epic, but it's kind of cool because I'm not the type of person to boast about myself. I'm also like toot my own horn, so I almost like get offended. Not really offended, I almost get like what's that word? It's not offended. Sorry, I don't like saying it too many times when people are trying to apologize to me. But it's just because like they got offended by the fact that I'm rude, because I'm so like I'll legitimately see yourself as a shame in my eyes and in like everyone's eyes, just for you trying to change any person that you like, that these people hold like personal vendettas. Like, I'll knock them out so quick that they created the anime One Punch Man after I had so many people, so many viewers, so many followers in my Lucid Dream and Astral Projections that they created the anime One Punch Man, like off of my exploits and whatnot. Oh, I was going to say appalled, but I know it's not appalled. It's not really, it's like shy. In this sense of words, it's like shy. They're not shy, but I mean, I like get drawn back. I'm trying to think of the exact word, but I always forget. Oh no, that's cool, man. No worries. Oh, and I wasn't talking about you. I'm like just like randomly getting hit with subliminals and thoughts of like people that I've dealt with in these past like few weeks. Like some guy jumps into my Asphalt 8 stream when I was just streaming on like oh, for sure. No, dude, that's cool. I mean, that's understandable. But I mean, these people jumped into my, or this person per se. I won't say people. I mean, they might try to like plagiarize so many people that they claim to be a bunch of people and whatnot, or however they went and caused all these atrocities under, or however they caused all these atrocities. But whatever, or not, but whatever. But however they caused all these atrocities, they claim to be like a lot of people sometimes. But this person got into my stream while I was streaming Asphalt 8, and then they tried like being subtle about how I kicked them out of my like I'm using Omelet Arcade, and I usually don't broadcast this stuff because they're not paying me, so I don't use the streaming platform's name. I'll use names such as like YouTube, just because YouTube was one of the first Google was one of the first companies that no, I think it's just me. Google was one of the first companies that I ran to in my not in my haste, but oh yeah, I guess in my haste, while I was like scared of losing my possibility of making a name for myself, I ran to Google. They released Google, and I tried getting them to do the whole streaming and everything, and they released Google Classroom as one of the offsets because I was planning on doing my whole streaming platform. It was started off a surfing website, which I made a not really a snide remark. I forgot I couldn't save drafts on Twitter, so I mean I like posted it like 3 to 4 times without realizing it, because I would post like different words as to how I was going to post it, and I remembered, oh, you're not supposed to speak ill about like people supposedly, and I wasn't really speaking ill. I was just kind of inciting like a riot, so to speak, being all haphazard with my thinking. But whatever, like I won't use these companies' names, but oh wait, how was I gonna point this out? Oh yeah. So I don't use any of these companies, whatever. So I don't use their names. Going back to that point, yeah, that's cool, bro. Oh, that's probably why, because he's eating food and it totally drew me off, and I'm like, I just ate like 4 hours ago, but I'm like not even really hungry. I'm like overly stuffed. Yeah. So Google was the first company that I kind of ran to, and I tried getting them to partner up with me, but as how companies work in this day and age, they just take your ideas prior to you being able to really do anything about it, mainly if you don't have any money to patent it. And my first offset was actually yo, is it possible for you to hear me over there? Or is not really? I'm gonna finish this. Oh, no way. I was gonna say I'm so happy I followed these nub buckets, but that was kind of a hilarious word. These guys are freaking sneakers. I used to be heavily into the input. Sneakers was one of my favorite setups. You can do it. Muscle cars can do it. Basically, take the car where you put some super pressure into the engine bay. It's kind of like running like an RX-7. Actually, even running like an old school. Actually, an old school RX-7 is really hard. But I was thinking like an RX-7 with an LS1, but even the old school RX-7 with like a motor or something like that, if they didn't get into it, it would be super fresh, not all that fast, but it would be modified. Sorry, I'll get back into the discussion as to how that person got into it, how they got kicked out of all this stuff. I just have to be able to turn down the sound a little bit. Just gonna turn down the sound just so you guys can hear my voice over everything else. Hopefully that works a lot better. And just in case it doesn't, this should make it a lot easier. I don't like most of the music in this. They didn't pay me, so they shouldn't have been using any of my stuff. And my stuff is the same thing. Just because I didn't have the money at the time to patent anything doesn't mean that doesn't mean anything other than the fact that actually I just didn't. I'm still in the process of patenting all this stuff, so there's no real way to like word it. I'm still in the process of patenting all these algorithms. I'm still in the process of patenting everything that someone else might try to patent, and that's that. So as I was saying, I ran to Google as my first choice because I had already ran to Microsoft for the whole heads-up display unit that I had basically created for my kinetic energy suit that they eventually used because someone else plagiarized me within like a certain set of like bloodlines, or in a certain set of last names. They plagiarized me and they just released it as HoloLens. They tried covering up my identity, my location, my place, everything, just because of all the technology that I uncovered, all the technology I reverse engineered from other places, from just off of one thing. And that you can find on my Twitter feed at This Is Face as being the main description. I don't speak about it openly because then I don't really overly like saying it in certain different formats and aspects and whatnot. But either way, so I ran to Google knowing that they had just bought out, or actually they bought out YouTube as an end result. But I was first releasing all my streaming platform stuff and everything off of surfing websites because me and my buddy were basically just tired of like the cams that we had technically already been using were like, dude, they'd say like 2 to 3 feet, but it was like legitimately like literally ankle boppers. I mean, go there and it was just like, dude, you are not like serious. Yeah, I mean, I'm not that skilled, but like also like I'd like to enjoy my time instead of just being out there just watching my buddies or my friends or whatnot, or just like being, and I mean just like it's just disturbing. Like even some of these enemies tried to jump in there, tried getting into my subliminals thinking it was a joke. These are all enemies to me though, so I mean, like, just for you guys to know for future reference, enemies are enemies. I don't ever let them back into my place after I ban them from all these places. So I mean, the original idea my buddy had, or my friend had, and he was just like, what if we use our cell phones to like broadcast like up front in your face, like at the scene, like I forgot exactly how it was said, but at the scene, how it was said at the scene, like at, you know, like the actual wave or the face of the wave, and at that point they at least know the size of the face of the wave, and we can use, like, he basically implied, like, because he knew exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh yeah, we could like put up like those VR cameras, which this software is basically heavily expensive because I work in the at the time I had been doing a lot of side work in the construction industry, since it's just kind of like my second nature. As a male, you're just kind of, as a male, I was just kind of inclined to just do, sorry, to correct that. As a male, I was just inclined to the construction industry, and I was trying to get my I was trying to be an architect / getting my contractor's license / I was in a slew of a lot of like tug of wars, so to speak. Didn't know which fork in the road to go through. So I mean, like, I just kind of was like, man, it was tugging me. Everything was tugging me in one direction or another. And my buddy just like jumps out and tugs me into this direction, and I just kind of got stuck again, being into like the heavy gaming aspect I had always been in, the heavy streaming aspect I had always been in, due to the fact that I used a lot of like applications to like try to not so much stream, but to try to show someone what I was talking about. And I mean, like, so it's just like, I guess I really would get heavily into this, but I mean, I'd have to be like using a lot of other references. But we would use a lot of apps such as like TeamViewer. We used that a lot. And that was just like, just primarily just for looking onto, going from one PC to another, to diagnose like not just issues, but to like catch hackers. Like whenever I was doing like clan battles and whatnot, it would give me the chance to look through their files. But I mean, this is all just stuff I already knew. So I mean, I was gonna release, but I mean, this is all like simplified coding, but kinda, it's like a set script to like not get myself like thrown off track. It's like I'm recording a video / preparing to do a video series while I get people and viewers entertained. Does that make sense? Like, sorry, I kind of try to do this often. So like, I might play PUBG in like a few minutes. And yeah, but that's mobile. It's PUBG mobile. As I now kind of see some of the screen caps to like the high-end renditions, but I mean, I want to get a PC now that I like see the some of the screen caps to what might have been PC that I saw through someone through someone that sent me like a friend request on Facebook or whatnot, I think. But back to the point. I was in the process of releasing Surf Time / Wave Time. That's technically the name I came up with. My buddy came to me with the overall premise of the idea, and he's like, we should get someone, like, we should figure out a way to like code this and everything, because I was already trying to figure out like how to do the whole not really live streaming, but get into like software and like software to boost systems. And that's how I got into the whole live streaming, created the whole live streaming platform, designed everything for live streaming, because we were only going off of like the basic streaming from a cell phone to a network, and then also having like set locations with like Wi-Fi towers and whatnot. But so I mean, I deal with a lot of plagiarists using my name. So I mean, that's the only reason I don't like to like. But that's the reason that you guys hear me go like that you guys see me pause for so much time, because I don't like dealing with garbage or plagiarists, and I'll just keep going with the story. But basically, what ended up happening is as I came up with all these ideas and I came up with the viable solutions to everything, the person that I had hired, or that I was in the process of writing out contracts to, was like, well, what do you really require like coded? And I basically gave him like a broad example, but I gave him, I guess, too broad of an example. But I figured, you know what, I could eventually take this to court if he does take it from me, and basically solidify it as a poor man's patent / publish. So I mean, either way, they still owe me for using my stuff. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, they took it without my consent because they never gave me credibility for it. So I mean, as a result, it's for like the damages. So I mean, I wasn't really too like skeptical, and I know how U.S. laws work, and I know how other countries' laws work. I would still get credibility for it. Even in China, they would still credit me with being the first person that created it. So I was just like, you know, I thought to myself, I'm at least like educated enough, because I've been dealing with this squabble myself for a while. Like, how am I going to get myself like really out there? I've always wanted to be like the richest person, and then I got into reverse engineering it, like other stuff, but that wasn't like really at the forefront, like kinetic energy suits, autonomous systems. I mean, all this started back in like 2009, to be quite honest, or I mean 2008 with the autonomous systems. I developed an autonomous system based off of waypoints, and that's basically the only way I can put it. Waypoints or not waypoints. Waypoints in 3D environments. Maybe in a few minutes. Sorry. I'll play in like 10-15 minutes. I think I'm trying to get to the Gold League before I switch over. I was actually trying to get to the Gold League, even though for this season, which is only, or I mean for this series, which is only like a week, this Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution, which I don't even like in real life. Actually, this year, or the year that they have in Asphalt 9, I actually kind of like the body style too. All the other years, they were short, stancy, ugly, like ugly, like ugly. It's like, sorry, like like so ugly that it was like I can't even think of like a right way of saying it. I just can't even think of the right word. Like so ugly. It was just like to like even like look at it. It was just like ugly. Like I couldn't even think of like the right word, and I even said something else that I couldn't even think of why I said it. But I was trying to say something else completely. But yeah, sorry, I branch off into one too many conversations. But regardless, back to the point. Oh yeah. So I created all the live streaming software, kind of whatever. So I mean, I would only really broadcast tapes such as like YouTube, and that's kind of the reason I said it, because it's like I haven't really spoken of this too often, so I really wouldn't say too much. But they jumped into the scene within like a month of me saying it. They had Google, within a month of me saying it, released, actually within like a few months, I wouldn't say right off the bat, they released like Google Classroom, because I was also trying to advertise the software to classrooms and whatnot, and I was trying to make it like a basic free rendition to all these schools and whatnot for their students. Basically, they pay for the class. It's basically kind of standard, right? And if not, then they would just have to, I mean, if it's like a free classroom, like internet, like a C++ coding like setup, like some random person trying to teach another person, well, I mean, as long as they're watching ads, they could utilize the software and whatnot, or utilize the website. Then I have like the highest like security, or I had the highest security clearance, as opposed to all this garbage that's been like going around causing nothing but damage. And I had created the whole virtual or augmented reality type portion just in case chicks try to get the easy A. At the very least, I can block that content from being sent over. And that's how I got the whole delayed stream concept and idea set up. Delay the stream by like a quarter of a second, or however much time it takes for the processing unit to process that video in order to put up an augmented reality type cover over all this stuff, or to completely kick them out. Sorry, I will in a few seconds, or in a few minutes, sorry. I'm trying to get to some PUBG in myself also. I haven't played all day. But so I mean, like I thought of all this stuff like at that point, and that's just kind of how I got into like heavily like into the whole virtual reality system. And then I kind of got into that. Kinetic energy suits were like something beyond epic. It's not just a kinetic energy suit, because I created a whole new power source that can power a suit for like over trillions of years, infinite amount of years and whatnot. Even the metals wouldn't corrode, because I mean, after a while I really didn't even require metal and whatnot to like maintain the electricity. And the amount of electricity I was creating, it was just like shocking. But I was basically creating like a little reverse barrel roll into the wall. Sorry, and I consider a reverse barrel roll when I go off like the wrong segment, because I used to do reverse flat spins when it would accidentally flat spin, and I would go to make a right-handed flat spin and like flat spin to the left or something, just randomly off of me just like jittering real quick or something without realizing it, and it was just like not caught by the system. I probably will. Yeah, we probably will. So this is technically like the end result, but sorry, trying to get back on topic. Oh yeah. So I created the kinetic energy suits. Those whole ideas. What's that considered? Oh, the heads-up display. The HUD type visor is what I was basically doing for like military units and whatnot, and not just like military units, but like, you know, your basic commander to like your regular grunt out on the field. I crashed once and it ruined my chance in that race. Sorry, that was my couch. Yeah, full-fledged. But let me see what I have for the Gold League. I don't even have any of these vehicles unlocked. I know, right? Well, I mean, I am Infinity, so that 8 kind of looks nice. In a few minutes, I'd say like half an hour. So, I forgot what it was. And I got humdrum stuck in. Oh man, I forgot to watch an ad because I was on stream. These ads don't pay me, so I don't like putting my viewers through any of this. And if I end the stream just for like a few seconds or a minute, I always forget. Not to restart my stream, but I mean, I always forget to end it. Don't have any A-class cars, so I can't run this. Oh yeah. So back to the point. So these companies all like basically jumped to basically my aid because I didn't have the funds. Plain and simple. I was like I was basically just an entrepreneur trying to establish my say in the market, or basic designer I was basically just a designer. Not so, kind of, but not so much, because there's not really much I could do here in the U.S. I would only sue them for over damages and whatnot. So that's not much money. Actually, it results in billions, but it's not much money. But either way, so I mean, YouTube launched for that, the HUD and everything, Microsoft, and the virtual processing, Microsoft. But then, you know, as other people tried becoming aware of my plug-and-play systems, what's that company? NVIDIA launched theirs, but they had a graphics amplifier, which is basically what I was doing through like just your hard drive and a virtual plug-and-play system, or off-site gridding and or off-site networking and whatnot, and a virtual plug-and-play system. So I mean, I was just kind of like, and I had already done this like sharing of resources. That's funny. But yeah, if I could find like people to code for me, I mean, it's impossible. I mean, it's still basically the same thing though. It's like me going down to Mexico trying to do all this stuff. It seems like it's less expensive, but it's like double the price anyways. You might get your Kahlua like $2 cheaper than what you get it here in the US for like a liter. The only reason I remember that is because I was into White Russians. Was it White Russians? I was into like, man, what are those? No, I don't really like the, Mobile Legends. It seemed a little cheesy in comparison to Vainglory. I'm more of a Vainglory person. Which, now that you say, I forgot to download. But I really don't even have space for that. Unless I uninstall Pixel Gun 3D. But they haven't given me a word as to if they're going to restore my old account. Or not, so I haven't really uninstalled it. I mean, the second I figure out if they're going to or not. Oh wait, never mind. I just updated it for their due to their battle royale and whatnot. So I mean, that's kind of cool. I'll probably keep playing, even though they got rid of all my customized skins and everything. Like, I had finally unlocked like the customized, or the custom skins for everything, for every like outfit, gun, basically everything. Mobile Legends? Yeah, so is Vainglory though. I mean, all MOBAs are basically the same. It's just which company's paying me. And none of them are, so I mean, that's just kind of what happens. Fourth world, I don't even understand what that is. But, oh. I don't even understand what that is. Not gonna lie. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So back to the point. Didn't broadcast any of these companies. Didn't want to broadcast any of them. So I banned this person from all my streams and handles. I figured me banning him like through the main platform that I'm using right now to stream, which I'm not really gonna even really mention their name again. I banned him through that, and the person like drops into their Twitch account and tries to like like they're even trying to run their subliminal messages through like my network right now, which is gonna frustrate me. Just because I get too bogged out and I get frustrated. So sorry. So I banned them through my Twitch account, which Twitch was it was someone who plagiarized me. No, not yet. And released the streaming software before I could release anything because I got into reverse engineering out of this world technology. Or actually, I didn't even I reverse engineered it after. Technically, I technically reverse engineered part of it. Or I mean, I technically reverse engineered most of it, and then I technically created not a housing, but I created a device to create more power from it. So I mean, I reverse engineered this device, and then I created another device from it to create more power. And then people started plagiarizing me for this stuff, so I figured that's how they broke through my network. And these plagiarists were working for like Sony at the time. Actually, the main person that plagiarized me was the guy that had 12 years of software engineer experience. He was working for Verizon Wireless at the time and was on contract, or Verizon Wireless was on contract with NASA at the time. Sorry, I've said the script just a few times that now I know how to say it. I've said this a few times that now I almost have it scripted perfectly. But they were on contract with NASA, or I mean, Verizon Wireless was on contract with NASA. So I figured this guy figured I'm behind like a very secure network, so I'm gonna just like sell this out to like a bunch of companies. And they tried doing it without me realizing it, and they used my marketing schemes, my marketing and advertising campaigns that I had set up for HoloLens, or not for my virtual reality system, which I was thinking of naming Sphere Gaming, which led towards all these like Ready Player One lies about that book being created back in the 1980s. It's just off of whose network and what hard drive they published it through. Because I mean, if you guys go back on in my streams, or if you guys are able to recover the streams, I openly explained how half these companies used to buy hard drives and they would just prime them as they're considered, or prep them by just turning them on back in the 1980s, and then they would store like a few like $1 million worth of hard drives in order to basically have that timestamp on the hard drive from back in the 1980s. Same thing with printers and things of that nature. So I mean, then they just print out books that were supposedly made from back then in those days, and they just store all the copies that they supposedly sold. They store all the records of what they sold. Supposedly, they all just lie about it. It's all just lies, full-fledged lies. It's how to age something properly. Because I mean, most of these courts won't ever really have a say. Most of these courts are bought out by these companies. I mean, Microsoft has their own city. They bought out their own lawyers. They bought out their own judges, which eventually told the government, "Oh yeah, these guys aren't considered a monopoly, even though it's a full-fledged monopoly in your face." And this was before the LLC structure happened. That's why the LLC structure became so popular. It'll take a while. You'd have to be like really, really full-fledged, like, it's the best way to put it, like full-fledged mature. Because I mean, I'd rather almost handle it myself, not to be a jerk. Because I'm still like new to the game. But I mean, I'll keep you at like the forefront of my list of moderators. But oh, whoops. I'll let you know within the week. I wanted to get to gold before I called it a session in this game, Asphalt 9, which was released like 10 years ago. Probably like 15 to 20, but that's just kind of how it goes. So, back to the point. And if you think about it, all these games should be with like the processing power that half these devices have should be running like way better than what they run now. But I mean, that's just kind of how it happens. I guess some of these countries haven't paid enough for it to happen, but because I mean, investments, whether you believe it or not, every cent counts. I mean, you can't sell yourself short, right? So why sell your product at a lesser rate when the company has full-fledged invested their whole life and reality into it, just as you have, just as I like basically have invested my whole life into me. Probably, yeah, we probably can. I'll play, yeah. But what was I gonna say? Hold on. Oh yeah, and this whole conversation, or this whole like script stemmed from me remembering that I banned a few people for their indecency in my servers, in my stuff, in my network, in my servers. I didn't even allow them into my stuff, but they like try to trollmonger me first. Like, why are you playing this game still? And I mean, like, they believe like I won't knock them out in like less than one punch again, or break their face in and not have like any remorse or pity for it. So I mean, I'll even set up the contracts to stipulate that if I do kill the person in this fight, and this is how that whole other fight within half these networks became so popular, because of how I word my contracts or set up my contracts. But if the person ends up dead, which I'll refrain from trying to do, then that's their own fault. And I set up legitimate contracts to where they're not allowed to train or work out until the contract is full-fledged set up. They might even have to intermittent fast for a few weeks and go in for a physical before that to make sure that they're not like juicing and doing anything of that nature. And then after that, we'll get into like heavy setups as to when they're allowed to, what they're allowed to eat, what they're allowed to do, what they're allowed to train. Yeah. Can you hear me? Did my mic cut out? Yeah. Can you hear me? Oh man, I hope this isn't like cutting out my screen. But oh no way! It's because my connection cut out. So regardless, man. Oh yeah, so the whole virtual processing head-up display, or virtual reality system and whatnot. So I mean, this is just kind of how everything happened. And I got plagiarized for like 90% of my work because I wanted to bring half these ideas into reality, and then they brought it into this game, or into this like supposed movie and supposed movies and headsets and heads-up displays and whatnot. But I mean, this is all just like me trying to get myself like not really back on track, but trying to completely shut out all these companies, or completely shut out all these plagiarists. But I mean, I guess that's just me. I wonder if my screen crashed. Sorry, I guess. No. Guess I crashed because I like that number 13. Let's see if I can hear myself and if my mic's back. Let's see if I can hear myself and if my mic's back. Alright, that works. Sorry. I get so heavy deep in thought and just like thinking and trying to spit something out that I can't even spit it out. It takes like 30 seconds for me to go from one sentence to another. Or one simple like phrase to another. Or one simple I guess it's a statement. It's not really a clause whenever I'm just like just speaking. It's not possible. It's not possible to just speak in clauses like for life. And maybe for like a sentence. I deal with a bunch of criminals, so it's just kind of what happens. Oh yeah, so my heads-up display. Oh, kinetic energy suits. That's what I kind of got into. Oh no, never mind. That was from the not virtual processing. Yeah, we'll play in a bit. Not to be a jerk. I'm gonna say, oh, my autonomous systems, and I don't want any of these plagiarists or garbage like trying to take my time, because so as I ended up like realizing just a few years ago, because I didn't even know that this had happened, but at the time when I created like an autonomous system, basically for driving due to this competition back in like the early 2000s that DARPA had with in combination with NASA, where they were trying to get their Mars rover and everything like an autonomous system for like self-driving vehicles and whatnot. Kind of pushed me to like realize like how this stuff is really possible, or not how it's really possible, but how I can create my own and whatnot. And I kind of got into autonomous systems, basically just because I had like an amazingly good coder at my disposal. Not really at my disposal, but that I had just heard of, and I wanted to pay for their hacks for a game that basically led towards the creation of PUBG Mobile. It was Combat Arms. So, yeah, I had to wait. So sorry about that. That's why I said like half an hour. I didn't know how much time it would take for me to finish these multiplayer races, or for this card to be done. Sorry. But, or how many I would actually lose before I got points. But back to the point. So I mean, the poster boy in PUBG Mobile is the same as my character in Combat Arms. So and I created a bunch of accounts. So I mean, it's just kind of like not like I'm about to get the face, and not for like hacking or anything of that nature. I was completely anti-hacked until I like saw this guy, until I met the person with like these amazing hacks. And the guy was like, "Can you tell I'm using hacks?" I'm like, "Not really." And I was like the #1 anti-hack person out there at the time, so it was just kind of cool when he said, or like getting hacks, and he's like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." But I mean, it totally took my basic perception as to what hacks were to like the whole, like basically to the next level. Like I had already known about half this stuff through like military, through me always being into like military self-defense, military systems, self-defense systems, always wanting to be Iron Man, Superman/Iron Man. I always wanted to be Superman, but I figured the more probable option would be me being Iron Man. So I mean, me kicking out all this garbage that like tried claiming to be me just because they're like, well, I mean, if I make you nervous enough while you're like talking, maybe I'll just take your reality and whatnot. So I mean, that's just kind of how this stuff happens. Kind of like why I stammer so much. But so this guy's hacks were just like amazing, and the guy was actually at the time currently, or I mean, I think he's still currently employed by Microsoft, but had the #1 hacks worldwide for not just combat arms, but modern warfare, Battlefield, like all like the and Crossfire at the time was epic also. And even till this day, I think Combat Arms is like the #1 free-to-play first-person shooter out there. And that game is so far like beyond epic. It's superb. It's like epic. It's so dope. It's like fierce. Their new engine that they released for the game was actually really cool. My clunker of a PC couldn't really run it, so I didn't really play much. My other PC was basically the government took that from me because I flipped out on an FBI agent for being a troll, or for being garbage and not wanting to like do their work. And I was just like, how is it that I just stumbled upon like, oh dang it, I just stumbled upon coding and you guys are sorry, how is it that I'm being violated for my rights so much, and I just stumbled upon coding, that you guys can't even cut out all these plagiarists that were supposedly like once married to like family members or to my sisters and whatnot? Maybe because they probably dated, or probably because of all the crimes that they concealed through whatever networks they were stealing stuff from, or that they were thieving assets from, or whatever companies they were thieving assets from at the time. But I mean, and I could care less what they tell the government. Hey, you guys have to cover up my stuff, is what they're basically saying on a regular basis, and that's what they're trying to get me to like say, because they're trying to plagiarize who said what. It's like a he said she said type of debacle. No, that was a cool crash. I didn't mind crashing, mainly if I'm not gonna get in front of the screen. Oh, that's what. That's the only thing I had to get in front of the screen for, that jump right there. I didn't think I would make it, and I knew I was a few cars behind. Oh, so these plagiarists went around trying to claim my assets and whatnot, but I mean, I was just like overly pissed off with the FBI because I basically taught the FBI how to code all over again, like a full-fledged infrastructure that would cause like no device within the whole country. I mean, within the whole world, within the whole world. But I mean, I guess it would only have, within the whole World Wide Web. But that's kind of like secluded to just this country at first, and then we broadcast to the whole world. That was an accident. Whatever, though. I've done that twice while cleaning my screen now, because I keep forgetting. But whatever, so I got epically mad at them. And I was like, well, man, I'll just have you guys shut down. Like, not like I don't know how you guys like how your current office was like set up, just because you guys lied so much, and whatever person, and I know the people, and I know exactly who paid for you guys to have an office in that city set up right next to one of the major cities that one of the cities that I'm in, closest to the major city that you guys are trying to operate off of. Like I don't know, and like I won't like spew all this information, and like actually through multiple resources. Eventually I plan on writing a book called Betrayed by a Nation, self-titled by my anonymous name, Face, or just like I wouldn't use my real name just yet. I'll use my initials, and not any that you guys might see subliminally or that you guys just saw or whatever, but none of those, and no enemies, that's for sure. I've been plagiarized a lot by a bunch of garbage, like the worst of the worst scum of this earth, like regardless of how they're seen and regardless of what they cry about. Oh, but I have kids now. Well, I didn't have them with that last, like, you know, like, and I really wouldn't say much more with that last one. So, I mean, if I say it, they try to like say it as if I ever said it. Like, I don't mean like as if I were the person that originally said it. Right? So I don't try to even do any discussing quotes by scum. So, back to the point. Oh, that was so epic. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So the FBI took my laptop. That laptop was already restricted because I got it from a reputable source that said it was that he got it from a friend, and the friend just didn't want it, and he eventually just wanted to sell it. So I mean, I picked it up. I bought it for like a really good price, and yeah, it was like restricted hardware. Like my desktop PC with like half the hardware wasn't able to was beating it. Like it was processing this device with like at the time 8 gigabytes of RAM, Core i7 processor at one of the faster speeds for a laptop, and basically a solid, I mean a pretty good hard drive, not on solid, but basically a good hard drive, resulted in me either being restricted by HP or who knows. But that device got taken from me. So I mean, the other laptop that I had gotten was from this group that has been causing damage to me for a while. So I mean, I really don't like dealing with them, and I try to avoid them as often as possible, and I'll eventually just kick them out of all my stuff. But let's see if I ever get the chance to make sure that they're incarcerated, just like they try to. Sorry, that they're incarcerated. Sorry, I don't know why I thought of that word. I just had a hair on my arm. Sorry, I have long hair. Or not sorry, but I have long hair, so it frustrates me. But to make sure that these people are thrown into prison or something of like a far worse situation. So, as I was saying, because I mean they commit some of the most disgusting crimes in my city that just resulted in me like completely like just cracking down on the FBI. And then realizing like half of these networks, and they're just like getting really, really tired of their stuff. Like they're like the lowest of the lowest scum. And that's those people and the FBI. So I mean, I got frustrated. So I mean, sorry, I'm almost done. It's gonna be like another minute, 2, 3 minutes, 4, 5, 6, like 6, 12, 10 minutes. Hi, welcome to the show. Well, it didn't even tell me this person like joined the stream as it normally tells me. That's cool. So man, I'm getting like 100 followers per day right now, which is kind of cool. And that's just through this app. So I mean, I don't know if my voice is really being heard or if I'm just getting neutralized in another network that's just going to shut me out. It's like every person that follows is basically muting me. The irony, right? So, hold on. Oh, what also resulted from all this is I ended up getting into astral projections that resulted in me realizing that I was the last remaining lawyer that this country had ever created. That's why they completely took lawyers out of the whole situation these last these last couple of years. That it's now just attorneys, because they're all fighting for the power of attorney, because they're all trying to deem me mentally incompetent, which is just like, what? Because my time is not following or going. I know I don't follow anyone. That's like my whole that's like just how it goes. I was thinking maybe after I get like 100 million followers, at first I figured maybe 1,000, maybe 10,000, and then maybe like 100,000. But I hit the 1,000, or I mean, right before, like a while, I was only at like 50 followers, and I was just like, I don't know, or I was at like 300 followers, but I didn't want to break my streak, so I was just like, maybe I'll just wait till like 100 mil or never really follow anyone. But I mean, it was all just a consideration, so can't really say anything bad about me. But I'm at like 2,000. I would say like 2,000. Probably like 2.6 to 2.7. 2,700 probably. Probably like 2,800 followers now. So I mean, it's kind of cool. It's kind of way epic in my opinion. So I mean, it might work out. So I just gotta shut enemies out. But I was trying to think of what I was gonna say. I just blacked out. Oh yeah, so I might not ever follow anyone. So I mean, that's cool, but it's kind of what happens. I mean, I have some other followers through other sites and whatnot, but that's not the same thing yet. I'd like to have like consistent viewers and followers through Twitch so I can get affiliate. But I stream so many hours per day that I don't even know if I'll ever get to affiliate. And I only have to have like 3 consistent followers. So I'll just have to set up one whole month where I like contract these kids out and be like, yeah, I'm gonna be streaming this day, and this day out of my only 3 days that I stream. After I get to like, what I normally do is I'll get to a league and then I'll get to the next oh, you know what? I was trying to unlock this card pack. I'll usually unlock a card pack. Sorry, hold on. Oh, okay, so I'll usually unlock a card pack, and then I usually get one more race into this into the next race before I like